Hi everyone, and welcome to my presentation on innovative teaching frameworks. This is based on some of the information that I learned in a course that I took for my master's program this summer. So the first thing that I'll be talking to you about is traditional teaching. Are you guilty of teaching traditional subject-centered classes? Do your students look like this in the classroom, or do they look like this? If so, this presentation is for you. So a few quotes to remind us about some of the things we're doing in education, or want to be doing in education. So the goal of education is not mastery of subject matter, but of one's person. And another that had a profound impact on me was we must concentrate on all students and teach them to be active, productive citizens in a rapidly changing world. While I was completing a course this summer towards my professional Masters of Education, these two quotes had a profound impact on me. Education isn't only about sharing your mastery of subject knowledge, it should be about exploration in order to prepare students for a changing world. We should be aiming to improve the whole student with skills that involve more than just regurgitating information. So we've all seen this image before on deep learning, and we're lucky to have a school division that embraces innovation in teaching. It's a mandate from our school board to move away from traditional classrooms and change for the benefit of our students. In 2013, Fullan emphasized 6 C's to shift Ontario from great to excellent education. These 6 C's are the same C's in our deep learning framework: collaboration, creativity, communication, character, citizenship, and critical thinking. We should be striving to use them as often as we can. So hopefully at this point you're asking, how can I change my teaching style? This summer I learned several frameworks that emphasize different components of our deep learning framework: artful thinking, forest schools, edible education, reading like a historian, critical thinking, STEM to STEAM, maker education, self-regulated learning, flipped classroom, inquiry-based learning, learning in depth, and understanding by design are just a few frameworks that change the way classes are taught. I've bolded the ones that are much more feasible in high school for you guys to be able to implement. We've heard many of these buzzwords before, and I know some of you are implementing strategies from these frameworks already. For those that want to know more about them, I will share a link to them after this presentation. Okay, so many of you are probably asking, can I actually do any of these in a high school setting? I know that many of them are elementary school student-centered learning driven. Or is this just more theoretical jargon that Bobby's giving me? So this summer I reached out to Bruce and Stephen in the history department to ask for their opinion on a learning in depth framework. After discussions with them, I decided that my grade 10 history class will be completing a learning in depth activity throughout the duration of the semester. Students will get to choose a topic based on a set of pre-selected subjects. They will have meetings with me and will be completing focus groups with other students to help them gain new ideas and decide where they want to bring their project. It will culminate with a final project fair. Grades are going to be minimal, and the activity is purposefully open to allow them to innovate. The activity will occur while I'm teaching the regular curriculum. The goal of the assignment is for students to become experts in their topic. I encourage everyone to check out our project fair at the end of the semester to see if learning in depth could work for you. So here's some of the components of a learning in depth framework. So are you still not really that sure? I encourage you to start by just trying one framework for one lesson. Here's 3 that are very feasible in high school. I've created an economics lesson that will blend components from each of these 3 frameworks. If you want to find out more about that lesson plan, then shoot me a message and I'll send it to you. You'll notice that the 3 frameworks have very similar components. The first one is flipped classroom. Think Khan Academy. Many of you use it in your classes already. Flipped Classroom has students complete the content acquisition at home, which gives you more time to work on the skills that you want students to gain during class time. Assign that Khan Academy presentation for homework so that students can pause, rewind, and take their time in the learning process so they can come to school the next day and prepare to engage in their learning. Critical thinking is a way of teaching and learning, and it can be used in all your classes. Design your questions to be open-ended and make your students think. It works better if you offer students a challenge and make sure they know how to be successful. Co-created criteria are ideal so students know what they need to do to be successful. Even note-taking can be done in critical thinking form by having students summarize and determine the most important points of the content. Once again, I recommend that you develop co-created criteria with your students to show them what good note-taking looks like. Reading like a historian is based on the framework of using primary documents in history to teach students how to think and examine documents critically. Students analyze the viewpoints, facts, and context to make inferences. A study from Reisman in 2012 proved that students learning history this way not only were better at analyzing text and thinking critically, but they actually remembered the dates and facts better than students learning in a traditional classroom. Best part is this approach can be used in all classes. In economics, I'm going to be having my students analyzing newspaper articles based on events occurring during the school year. And the last thing that I want to talk about is collaboration. So you're all our greatest resource. I shared a few ideas with you on how to implement the deep learning framework. Now I want to hear from you. I'll be sending a link to a Linoit. It's basically a sticky notes on a virtual board. I want you to share a framework that you currently use, or read about one of the frameworks that I shared and state how you could use it in your class. We're looking for practical ideas so that people can share their ideas and build towards a school that has more innovation in teaching. And I'm looking forward to seeing your responses. Here's some of the references that I used throughout this presentation. Thanks for watching.